Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, and as everybody knows, I try to do projects to do something I've never done before, and usually I get the projects to successful finish, but sometimes I feel like things hadn't been totally done just right, so then I go back and do it over again. Not do it over again, but tie up a few loose ends. What I figure things that really needed just a little bit better finishing up, and that's what we're going to do today. The boss lady's not quite as fleet of foot as she used to be, so I ordered a stair lift and I installed that, and I was going to give you guys some video, but I got a little bit, but I got wrapped up in doing it, and then I didn't want to take time to include the camera. So you'll see the stair lift, but you'll see that it magically is finished after it gets started. Anyway, since we're tying up loose ends, I got this air valve that one of my viewers sent me a link to, and we're going to make fittings for it. I went down to Redneck Supply, and every fitting in there was $4.95 or so. That'll cost you $4.95. That'll cost you about $4.95, a little bushing. And so I got my hands on some taps and a die, and we're going to make some fittings, and then we're going to put this air valve on the plastic injector, and that'll be today's loose ends we're going to tie up. Let's get after it. Well, there it is, my project for the day, and there's real weight in those boxes. The boss lady's having increasing amount of trouble getting up the stairs, so that's a stair lift. I'll give you a little look out every now and then as I put it together. Okay, there we are. The box is full of goodies. Box full of track, and one of the things I'd like to say is just what I'm doing this, if you're not handy, maybe you ought to have somebody else assemble it for you. I figure this is going to take me all day, even though the guy in their video did it in a couple of hours. Okay, after you've read the instructions, need to open up the box and lay out all the parts. Yes, I said read the instructions. I did that at the risk of losing my man card, but it could be important at some point, and it's a whole lot easier to do it right in the first place than to do it over later. I dedicated half the stairs to working and junk laying around, and half of it to walking on. So we got that put together, and I got to go up to the top and drill a hole to run the charger wire into. Alright, the hardest part was getting the feet under it and everything spaced properly. And now we're up to, got the little trolley on there, and we're going to hook up the wires. Here's where you can, of course, wipe out a whole lot of stuff. And I hear Daisy, she wants to go outside, so gotta stop. Alright, I wimped out on you guys doing a video of me putting this thing together, and because it took me, I bet, 6 hours to get it all done. Those legs under the rail was the hard part, and it's kind of nice. It's got a charging spot at either end wherever you park it, and in that rail on the top there, right inside there, there's 3 racks. It comes with a rack and the bottom piece already assembled. You run the chair trolley down it until you get to the rack, and then later on you drop the other 2 racks in there, and you're supposed to fasten it down with a screw at the top. Unfortunately, you'll see the screw wouldn't fit in the hole. Just enough misalignment, and I tightened it down where the rack won't move anyway, so everything clears, and I left it like that until later. But it took me, like I say, it took me about 6 or 7 hours to do this thing, and once I got started on it, I wasn't about to interrupt and go and get the camera and stuff. It would have took me 2 days. So, but it comes with a couple of remote controls, one for the bottom and one for the top. And it works pretty good. I ran the wire for the thing last week. Made a outlet back behind Daisy's cage there. So Daisy doesn't really like this thing, and she won't come near it when it's on the top, but she'll go up and down the stairs if it's at the bottom. I guess you could say she's not really a fan of this device, but there you go. Anyway, we'll get back to the other clearing up loose ends, or tying up loose ends part of this thing, and we'll get all that taken care of. So, sorry about dropping you out of the assembly, but it was just too stressful. By saying it was too stressful, I don't mean that the assembly was that technically difficult. It was basically you just bolt on things and plug in the wires and that sort of thing, but getting that set of legs underneath the thing all at the right height and getting it level was nerve-wracking. And after I got through with that, I just went trying to get through in the one day. I just went on with stuff. So actually, if you're handy at doing stuff like this, you can install it. All the big channels, the big boys, have got tap guides for starting taps by hand, and I don't have any solid metal of an appropriate size, or of what I think is an appropriate size. So I'm going to use this square tubing. Since I got all my numbered and letter drills back in the 70s, the letter drills came in a drill index, but all the numbered drills were stuck in this little box. And it's been that way, like I say, since the 70s. Well, the other day I got on Zorro, and I got this index for $10, $5 shipping, and now I'm missing about 9 bits, but now that I can see what I'm looking for, it's a real nuisance to have to take a box and reach in there and measure and measure, because I can't read those little bitty numbers. I can read the numbers on these big ones, but the little small ones, no way. Anyway, this is a real handy thing to have. I've got this valve. One of my viewers looked up the number for me to get it, and this guy, well, guide the air to raise and lower the cylinder there. And of course I'm going to screw it on right about here, and then plumb the thing up to fit everywhere. I guess about there, that's probably as good a spot as any. No need to be fanatical about this part. Well, that looks close to the center. Doesn't have to be dead on. And well, that's pretty good for doing it with a hand. Okay. Now we'll get a drill, and we'll drill us a hole there, and we can use our newly manufactured tap guide to guide it in. Be right back. Alright, it's time to drill the hole. I'll have to stop in the middle of this project and go to Redneck Supply because I don't have the right fittings. Well, I discovered an interesting thing. Those Tractor Supply bolts won't fit a 75% thread. I tried screwing it in, and I screwed it in. It was really tight. When I tried to unscrew it, it twisted off. So I had to go back and get a bigger drill bit and make a 50% thread, and that one works. So if you got Tractor Supply bolts, just go ahead and go for the 50% thread in the first place. If a tighter thread ain't going to fit. Alright, being the cheapskate I am, I'm not going to make my fittings out of brass. I'm going to make them out of aluminum, and I've got aluminum laying around, which is pretty much what influenced me to go ahead and do it that way. So we'll crank this guy up, face this thing off a little bit, drill a nice hole. Now the diameter is a bit big, and I'm not going to worry a great deal about the diameter, other than seeing to it that I get down to the right size for the threads, you know. Says on this pipe tap, where it is here, says I need an 11/32 drill. I hope I got one. Maybe. It seems that Mother Sears fixed me up an 11/32 when the drill bit set was put together. So there you are. And I think that went right through. I'll do this part by hand, of course. Find a wrench to do it with. Well, you're going to shake a little. I had been of the opinion that I was really set up with a handle for pipe dies, and I've got a handle. It's just that it turns out that it's for round pipe dies, and the one I've got to thread this little fellow with, he's a hex. So the threading handle turns out to be a big old pair of pliers. We'll continue on like this, thread it, cut it off, tap it, and do that about 5 times, and I should have it made. Alright, I think this is going to be the design that I settle on for the two that go into the air cylinder, and then I'll work out how I want the ones to work that are going to go into the air valve. So I've got one of these, I'll make another one. This is the first try at a bushing, and admittedly it's not too grand. But these are the next 2 bushings, so I can get them in the camera there. And I think they're a great deal better. They'll screw in real well because they've got something to get a hold of with a wrench, and I believe we're on the right track. I don't know why I said I need to make 5 of these. I need to make 2 of these for the air cylinder, and the other 3 I need are a whole different size. In fact, I may just need 2 more. So I'll get to measuring on that and I'll come back. Well, Joe Pye says to turn your tool upside down and thread it in reverse. That way you don't have trouble getting started in the right spot. So we're going to give that a shot. I think that's touching. Sounds like it. Got to engage the threading dial. Right? Still, that's pretty fast for an old guy. Let's slow it down. Alright, we're slowed down. That ought to be better. Then, I got to reset this because I don't have it set on 29.5 degrees, although I think that's probably, we'll just forget about 29.5. We'll go with coming back to 0 every time. Alright, here we go. Or maybe here goes nothing, or whatever. That wasn't even touching. So. There. That's touching. Red gauge. Yes, that looks like it's 18/3 French. I decided not to move the tool. I'll get it closer to center on the next piece, but that screws in there pretty darn good, and we're going to go with this. Next time around, I'll move the tool a little closer to dead on center. It was a strange thing. I had to run the tool in a great deal more than normal to get the same depth of cut because, well, obviously it was above center. Alright, so I'll drill this thing out and part it off and get it ready for the internal threads, and we'll have one of the next two done. Alright, I've parted it off and turned it around. I'm going to make the internal thread. Pulled itself right through. Okay, now all I got to do is tap this little bugger, and there's no use you watching me spin away on that tap. Alright, this is the second and last bushing. I think that'll be enough to hook everything up. So on to the little plastic injector, and let's get it piped up. Well, the boss lady told me that piece of plywood's got to go. It's in the way. I had saved it up for putting in the back of those shelves there. Was stuff a little insulation in between the two befores there and cover it with that wood, but I haven't got around to it yet, so I have another project that needs a piece of plywood, and it'll get everything all out of order. So the stuff that I plan to do will be done later, you know. Alright, so the valve has fittings on it. You can see them right there, and the little pneumatic cylinder has got valves on it. So what we're going to do is just pipe the thing up. So we back this off, back the camera away across the floor, and we'll try to fix it or finish it, whatever. This is my first time to use these little push together fittings. First one I got my hands on, I didn't know what it was, so naturally I ruined it. But this time we'll try not to ruin anything. Alright, so that can come down and go into there. hopefully all this stuff will work out the way I'm doing it. Like I said, I've never used any of this before. Didn't know what it was. Okay. That may not look as good as a Randy Richards job. That's, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. But it'll do for a start. Let me go and get the hose over here and we'll see what we can see. The last time I used this, I let the little ram sink down there and get stuck in the molten plastic. So I've cranked it up. Got electricity on it. We're starting to warm it up. And I'll try to beautify things while this thing starts warming up. I just noticed something interesting. The middle segment of each LED, one going crossways in the middle, they don't light up. I don't think they light up on any of the LEDs. You can see what you got, and that's quit working since the last time that I plugged it in, I'm reasonably sure. So I've only used it a couple of times. It should have lasted better than that. Oh well. I'll have an idea where it's at anyway. I can still read it. Let's see if that's warm enough for the thing to work itself loose. I don't know which way's up. Well, I don't know if I was in between you and the valve or not, but camera level. Alright. It does work. I can see it works great. I'm going to unplug the heater, but I don't need to melt the plastic. Works pretty good. There we are. Holding itself in position pretty good. I'll leave the air hose hooked up for a while, but there you go. There's another loose end tied up. I didn't get the hose all that neat because I didn't. So there you are. But anyway, it's not really that bad. The hose isn't, and the whole thing works. And I made my own fittings, and my fittings work. They're not blowing off or breaking or leaking. So I don't know if a Bubba joke follows or not, or Daisy or whatever, but I would like to say that this is a holiday time, and so I'll be coming and going and having lots of things to do and visitors and one thing and another. So I'll probably get out of step on producing videos. Maybe a week or two there's not anything. So just thought I'd say that, and I appreciate y'all watching. Remember to keep on keeping on, and please come back for the next video. Well, Bubba, you know, he had a pet rabbit there, and this is a special rabbit. You know, he could talk. You know, and don't go look at me like that, Pierre. You watched Bugs Bunny on television a lot, I'm sure. You know good and well. Bugs Bunny can talk. Bubba's rabbit can talk. All right. So anyway, the rabbit got some kind of little growth under his fur there, needed removing. So Bubba took him down to the veterinarian. The veterinarian's getting ready to work on him, and the rabbit refused to have any anesthetic. And the veterinarian said, "Well," he said, "look here, this is probably going to hurt something when I cut your fur open there. You know, cut your hide open. How come you don't want no anesthetic?" The rabbit says, "Well, it's because I'm an ether rabbit." Ether rabbit. I don't get it either.